Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago, to Breakthrough. We're still here. Mark Anthony Peter, Sean Michael Small, enjoying the day, as we always do.
Speak for yourself.
Doom and gloom, all the time, all the time.
Listen, your day job is trying to uplift people and get them to achieve their dreams. My day job is to share the harsh truth and reality. So to be fair, Breakthrough is when I get a little bit of a break from my actual 5 days a week doom and gloom, except, you know, the arts community could use a little slap of reality every now and then, get themselves in gear, you know, build themselves up with some proper elbow grease, you know what I mean?
That was
you
so
know
intense.
That's right.
It's so intense too quickly.
That's what I do.
All the time. You see, black and white, not like action. Shucks. I apologize. Anyway, let's move swiftly along. We have with us, joining us in studio, a very good friend of mine and a very talented young man. We have with us, joining us in studio, actor and singer, Adrian. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning. Wow, what a start, what an introduction. Well, I don't know what to say, but thank you so much for having me.
Oh yes, thank you for being on. So let's get straight into it, moving swiftly past it. So first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. I woke
Lovely.
up this morning, feeling real good today.
Nice.
3 little birds on your doorstep.
Of course. Singing sweet songs.
Melodies beyond true.
3 kiss kitty. Anyway, so here we go. So we're gonna put the spotlight, as is our segment, we're gonna put the spotlight on you a little bit. So from Trinidad, born and raised, right? And then, fill in the blanks. And then what happened?
And then in 2019, my family and I decided to migrate to the United States.
Your family and you, or your parents said you're migrating with us?
Well, pretty much my parents did say I'm migrating. I had no choice. I had to just go pew and leave everything behind.
Oh, okay. Where you moved to?
I moved to Maryland, and
Okay.
I'm very close to Washington, D.C.
You could hear the accent.
Yeah, you know, he's trying.
No, because every time I ever talk to people, I'll be like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of...
So you're accustomed saying that sentence like that. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't have to do that when you're down here.
I know, but it's real hard to kind of differentiate the kind of pronunciations and things. So I hear from Maryland. Better.
Not really, but okay.
That's like you're trying hard to have a country dialect in Trinidad now, which, yeah.
Okay, that's why I just say I'm from Washington, D.C. better than Maryland, because I know about the accent, okay?
Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
the
So you went across in 2019, so you would have been like what, 15, 16?
Around 15 and 16 years old.
So that's like you left at Form 3.
Pretty much.
So you went straight into like the middle of high school across
I
there.
was in 10th grade. They wanted to put me down a grade to 9th grade because usually when you go to America and they see that you're from a different country or island, they tend to put you down a grade to get you up to speed of how they learn in the American system or whatever.
Right.
How it's different from the British system
Right.
that we have here. But I don't know what happened. I was just like the counselor I was with during the time was Trinidadian. I was really understanding of like my transcript from Trinidad and from where I went. So they bumped me back up to where I was supposed to be with everybody else in 10th grade.
Okay.
So I was really appreciative of that.
I guess that's a benefit of making sure that, you know, we're out there and we
Yeah.
could look out for
That's
each other.
the benefit of Trinidad being too fast. So they'll come and the council of Trinidad and be like, oh, you from Trinidad? You from Trinidad? I know it's you. You's a good one. You's a good one. I know it's you. You could go in 10th grade.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you moved across there. You're in college now, in
Yes.
university. What are you studying in university?
So currently, I'm studying a combined major of computer science and business with a minor in music and entrepreneurship.
That
that's
doesn't
a
sound
lot.
like a major and a minor. That sounds like 4 things. And you know, usually in life,
And again, piece of paper
you
at the end of
pick a path.
Right.
And maybe you might have something on the side, but you sound like, I still want to keep 4 doors open.
Yeah, that's pretty much it because I wanted to learn so much. It's like, oh, like the work's so easy and whatever, you know.
Right.
It's like, okay, let me take on a challenge. Still the same. Let me take on a next challenge. And, you know, it just went from
is
there.
that you low-key boasting, you know?
No, not at all, not at all. It's, I like to learn. I love to learn. And going up there, I like to learn about a different culture and then different, like the way they teach like computer science and business and whatever, compared to here because I learned business here before I left.
Okay.
Right. I mean, computer science is a whole different The thing with business, I would always say, business courses will teach you things that seem obvious when you learn it. Except if you don't go through a business course and you actually try to run a business, all of a sudden, what would be obvious, right? It's obvious in hindsight, but it's not obvious up front.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
But music and computer science. So how do you have time for all of this?
Well, so the good thing about this school is that you have a really great advisor. And I told them all about my interests and what I really am fascinated in doing. And I was like, I sing. I used to sing. I used to go choir, whatever, when I was back here. And I'm like, how do I incorporate that when I'm up there? And they were like, oh, you can try a music minor. It's only, 12 more credits, which is like 4, 8, 12, 3 classes, 3 extra more classes. So I was like, okay, I can put it under my belt for a minor. And I was like, I also love business and I would love to be a business owner one day. So I was like, let me also minor in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So that I can learn those different aspects. So it's not really much. Maybe I have to take a semester extra to complete those, but it's really not that more than I expected to do. And now, with that being said, I do, with that like extracurricular stuff, I do acting now to really emphasize like, okay, I have the singing trait, I have the dancing trait, and now to finish off the thespian in me.
Not the trifecta.
Right, to finish off the thespian, I want to do the
Right.
acting.
Okay.
And that's something I recently got into.
Okay, so what sort of like projects have you been involved in?
So thankfully, I've been able to book a Netflix film recently by Robert De Niro. It was his new film. It's coming out. It's called 0 Day.
Are you allowed?
Yeah, no, I'm allowed. I'm allowed to say. Don't worry. I signed the contract, but I'm allowed to say.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Just need to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's called
go
0
ahead.
Day, and
Yeah.
it's coming out. And I had a little spotlight in that film. I can't say
Okay.
much, but I had a little scene in that film that I'm really, really excited to see when it
Nice.
comes out.
And in terms of like, so that's probably like the biggest you've had so far.
Yeah, that's movie-wise, but everything
Okay.
else-wise, I do commercials.
Okay.
Yeah.
So promos and stuff like that.
Pretty much. And
Okay.
there was this one commercial that I did, and it was super fascinating. I've collabed with this K-pop band group called TXT. Yeah. It was so weird, and I don't have a manager, so I find in this normally, like every day, like looking on Facebook groups,
Okay.
looking on acting websites, and it's so
Right.
hard, but like, I just really pushed myself to do that. And then I never expected to find that ad because it didn't say anything about collabing with any major K-pop band or
It
group.
just literally said.
It just
people
said,
need it or whatever.
yeah, it just said a commercial shoot. And I was like, okay, let me apply. And next day, they sent me an email back, sent me a headshot and reel and resume and whatever. And I did, and then all of a sudden I got the invitation of, okay, you have this role with this major K-pop band group.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was just like mind blown after that.
So you're a Trinidadian
Here
in
we go.
America shooting a commission with a K-pop band.
Right, yeah. I know it's a lot going on, but I talk in the American accent now so I can blend in with them so they can't figure that Trinidadian.
So we could blend in.
So, but when it come out, you know. But you know,
Okay.
people will be like, "What did you say?" You know, what are you talking about? You know.
Okay.
So
But I have a question though. So
Right.
in between university, when you got in 10th grade of high school, usually American high schools do have, at least some of them, right? Music programs, of course.
Yeah.
The usual story is they might get cut first when they have budget problems. Did you have exposure to music programs in high school up there before college, or was that on a hiatus?
No. So I did join a chorale group in high school. That was the first thing I ever did. My aunt was the one who actually pushed me to join the chorale group because they was having this theater play called Into the Woods. And I was super nervous, I was super shy. This is my first time going into this. And she just pushed me and she said, go ahead, audition. I auditioned for it and I got the role of Rapunzel's prince and the wolf too, because there's 2 wolves in the play. And
Okay.
that was my first ever breakthrough into the acting kind of theatrical scene.
Okay.
So that's when I first got exposure. It was in high school.
Wow.
First week of joining high school, they had the audition for the play.
And what are some of the things, because that's definitely that would have been a new experience
it
and
definitely
exciting.
was.
What are some of the things that you kind of took away from it, that you learned?
Well, a lot of things that I learned is that I'm pretty good at improv when I didn't know,
Okay.
when I never did improv before.
Okay.
So that's something I learned. And with being in choir here in Trinidad, I kind of got exposed to having that stage fright being taken away. So when I was in front of the stage for the first time ever performing, I kind of felt natural. I kind of felt
Okay.
like this is me, you know, this
Right.
is something I really enjoy doing and I would really love to do it in college. But there's this little thing where you can't go to college for acting, you can't go to college for singing or whatever. So that's what prompted me to do acting on the side and outside of college. Although I can take classes to learn more about it, it wouldn't really contribute to my, I guess, main passion or whatever.
For sure.
But I'm still finding out what I like to do, you know? So
I mean, I do find it interesting that with regards to acting, the deeper you go into acting, the more it is, you know, you could use the big words, it's about human condition. Well, the funny thing about that is you kind of have to know what humans do to understand human condition.
Yeah.
And if all you study is acting, then all you know is what actors do.
Right.
And that is probably one of the least normal things of the human condition. How do I embody somebody else? That's not the everyday human drama.
Actually,
no, it's not.
I will challenge you on that.
No, it's not.
Because there are a lot of people walking around pretending to be somebody that they're not.
That's true, but they don't use the tools actors use.
Fair.
They don't use the tools actors use. They use different tools, and a good chunk of it might be lacking in mental health, but it is what it is. It is what it is, right? And some of it might be coping mechanisms, right? But it's not acting, because I do find like one of the criticisms for activists is that reporters will be like, and then the actors come in and they give their opinion, which is usually uninformed because they don't know nothing about nothing, and it just mucks the whole thing up. Whereas, you know, like in my position, I think it's a benefit to me having experience outside of not just doing a journalism degree, if that makes sense. And for you as an actor now, you could kind of understand, well, this is the working world, this is what business is like, this is what entrepreneurship is like, this is what certain realities are like. So if you get a role now, it's like, be somebody who's struggling or whatever. You're not just, well, I saw whoever, you kind of understand, you can actually internalize, okay, this is why this person might have this amount of stress.
So with that being said, it all dials back to, I actually took a workshop once about acting, and it really made me understand the business of acting as well. So there's two parts of acting. There's the business of acting, and there's the actual craft.
Right.
Breaking down the character, trying to relate them to your own experiences, even though you can't really relate to what the character genuinely went through. You have an idea of what is really broken down into that same character. They give you all these experiences and all these things. It's like a little, what do you call it? A retreat. Right?
Okay.
You go away and you have to study the craft yourself. You have to really break it down to yourself and be like, okay, this is my new character. I'm no longer Adrian. I am this character. You know, whoever roles will be given to you. And it'll give you a very long description of what this character entails entirely. That's one thing I learned about character breakdown, and then there's script breakdown, and then the business of acting. Most times when people go into acting, they neglect the business of acting. And that mostly entails everything that you're going to go into, like how much, like what is a fair rate, what kind of businesses you can go into, what to really look up to avoid scams and whatever. That's something, if I did not learn that before getting into acting, I probably wouldn't have been in the position I was at right now.
Okay.
And like fair rate also goes both ways. It's like not to be underpaid, but also not to be overly demanding.
Yes.
And then they're like, well, why are we going to bother with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing is like fake it till you make it, you know? That's something we always learn, especially as Trinidadians.
I don't know what Trinidadians do. I think Trinidadians are more like complacent, and the money will somehow find its way into my pocket. That's what I think Trinidadians. No offense, Trinidadians. No offense.
Doom and gloom.
And so there's a lot of things that really went down when it came to learning acting. Obviously I went into it and I'm like, okay, I want to do acting, but what can I do to make sure I protect myself when going into acting? And something during the time that I just learned, well, not now, but previously, is that, you know, SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild?
The guild.
They recently went through a strike because of underpaying actors, and that's what prompted me to be like, why are they going through a strike? And that's what made me understand more of the business of acting. So I'm thankful those things happened during that time, because it made me understand, oh, they're underpaying actors, they're underpaying writers. No, the writers are not getting the proper acknowledgements that they should, as the actors did, you know. So a lot of that contributed to my journey, and I'm truly appreciative of what I've went through so far because of that.
Okay. Now, if let's say as you get older, a young actor, but an actor comes to you, and you know, he or she asks you for any sort of advice that you can give. What sort of guidance or what sort of advice would you give to them?
If a young actor, aspiring actor came to me?
Yeah.
That's a good one, because there's so much I can say. It's just, where should I start from, you know? Because being in that same position as well, I would say to, how can I say this? I would say to continue to be yourself while in that journey, because it's very easy to lose yourself emotionally, mentally, especially when you know you're going to get that role. I would say, obviously, start in theater, because that's a great way, especially how I started, especially how a lot of other actors started is in theater. And then crawl your way through theater to go into acting. Although there are two different compartments, it's very different. Theater acting and film acting is just two different things. Theater acting gives you that position where you can give yourself that confidence, I would say. That's a piece of advice I would give. And to try to get an agent or manager if you're brand new, so that you get some guidance into it, if you don't have any connections to anybody who are in the film industry.
Yeah, I do recall you did say you don't have an agent.
I do not, because,
You know? So this is,
He knows for first time. He doesn't have one.
Do what I say, not what I did.
Not as I do. But I guess, because I'm guessing that there may be a lot of scams out there. That
Yes,
you're
there
not
are a lot of
sure
scams, and definitely in the business of acting, because the reason why I did not need an agent is because I almost mastered the craft of understanding the business side of acting.
Okay.
Because everyone neglects it basically, and thankfully, I took a leap of faith and I messaged an Instagram actor that was on the Thundermans, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, you know what? I now started acting. I'm gonna try to message people and whatever. So I messaged them and they actually got back to me.
Okay.
I had a whole thing be like, hey, he was a new actor too, but now he's getting more films, main roles, and he gave me a bunch of advice. And I truly appreciate it. His name is Connor. I don't know if I want to say his full name, but he's a great guy. He actually guided me through it without needing an agent or manager. But that's me. That's myself pushing myself to message people.
So what I hear you say is courage, determination, and some level of resilience as well.
Pretty much.
Because you're probably at the start you're gonna hear the word no more than you hear the word yes.
Yeah. And that's one thing too. When you get rejected, it feels like, wow, it's because in film, they look at you. They look at your character, your facial things, your graphics, whatever. Anyways, it's like they look at you, and getting that no, it's heartbreaking. But after a while, you have to remember, like what I learned is that you just have to submit and forget. Submit and forget what they do. Forget. To even think about like the rejection, if you get accepted, just submit and forget it. And that's how you prepare yourself.
Even in big movies, for every role, there are a lot of relatively big name actors who got told no. It's not just, you're too small. Yeah. Right? I mean, no one's comes to mind, but you always read for certain projects, there'll be like 5 or 6 Hollywood A-ish listed celebrities of whatever age, demographic bracket, and gender who were all off for this role. There was like 5 young actresses trying to get this role. Obviously, only one of them could get it. Yeah. And then when you look at it now, you could be like, oh yeah, they all kind of look different enough where I could see where the directors and producers will pick one person specifically, and their personalities will be different enough, and their aura. But then the flip side, of course, is also it's the body of work. Sometimes they get stereotyped. Do you get stereotyped a little bit?
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's a hard pill I had to swallow, especially now going into the industry. I would often get told that I'm Indian presenting, South Asian presenting and stuff. And yes, it may seem my ancestors or whatever was South Asian, and explaining to be Trinidadian or from the islands, it's really hard for other people to understand. It's like, oh wow, you're
they are non-black people in the Caribbean.
Right, it's fascinating. It's like when people say like, oh, you're Jamaican. No, I'm Trinidadian. We have similar accents.
No. The worst part is right because the few times that I travel, the question always was, what part of Jamaica is that in?
Right, exactly. The same question every single time. It's always like, wow, what part of Jamaica are you from? I'm like,
the sad part is they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't ask us about the Bahamas. They don't ask us about Barbados.
No,
they don't ask us about Puerto Rico, right? They don't ask us about Grenada. But somehow Trinidad and Tobago, at one point, the richest, biggest island, they even had a Miss Universe. Just saying. We've had more than one Miss Universe and a Miss World in Trinidad and Tobago, right? But who knows about Trinidad?
When he was in high school, they thought he was Mexican.
They did think I was Mexican. Yeah, they thought I was Dominican actually.
I mean, to be fair, I go for I get either Puerto Rican or Syrian.
Okay.
Or maybe Portuguese. Maybe I'm not. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not sure. Because the actual local Syrian immigrants here, they're like, well, he's not Syrian, so he's something else.
Right.
Something else.
They're always guessing.
Yes,
see where you're from.
Now, I do have to wrap up really quickly.
Okay.
But one last question. And it's a question that I ask a lot of people, how do you define success?
Wow. Yeah. I need some time to think about that, you know?
Well, you have like less than a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, how do I define success?
Yeah.
Well, success entirely entails what you do and what you make of it to want to succeed entirely. Like, what are you going to do to want to succeed entirely? So I always think about the different aspects of like, okay, how am I going to push myself to succeed? Am I going to come out of my comfort zone and get out of my bubble and make myself known, or like make myself somebody that entirely wants to achieve this thing without looking too cocky or whoever, not looking too like, you know, like you're pushing yourself now, but you want to like be humble at the same time. So I define success as being humble and sort of getting out of your comfort zone
Okay.
to really embrace that character that you're building for yourself.
Okay, nice. Hear that, young people? These are the things. Right from somebody, right from your own. Even though he, you know, spending some time over there and he could code switch when he wants. From your own, all right?
Yeah. If you didn't think it was a traitor before, just wait for him to pull out the accent.
Oh my gosh. Adrian, it's been a pleasure.
To be fair, if you want to be an actor, you probably do have to migrate.
You
at
do
some
have
point.
to, you know, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're gonna sort of come to the end of the show, but before we do, we have a little clip of Adrian and somebody else performing with him, performing How to Save a Life, a cover by The Fray. Hope you enjoy this clip. Have a wonderful week out there, Trinidad and Tobago. Continue to support our actors. Continue to love them and show them all the support that you can. Bye-bye.